Welcome back to Sic'Em 365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics Mack Rhoades is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
We are starting a new segment on Sic'Em 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Every week we're going to have Baylor Director of Athletics Mack Rhoades joins us.
You're just too mean to him. I don't support this.
Oh, my goodness. Why do you go on vacation and create just havoc?
Thank you for letting me be on the show again. I wasn't sure if you'd let me on again, and I know we tried to get on, but you guys were booked. That's what I was told.
All right,
so.
You ready for us to fire away at you?
I am ready.
Is the Big 12 going to add any Pac-12 teams?
I think to coin a phrase you've heard before, we're open for business. I think everything's on the table. I think we're exploring our options. No different than I think what everybody else is doing. No different than what the SEC did last year, what the Big Ten just did recently. And so we love the 12. I think we've got a bright future, and we've got great value there. And we're starting to realize that in terms of conversations with media consultants, et cetera. But we're also looking at, is there opportunity to add even greater value? And you've got two conferences right now at 16. And so look, we're exploring, and certainly nothing's imminent at this point in time, and trying to do it, obviously the right way. And this stuff's hard. I'll say this: I know how those schools feel in the Pac-12. We went through it last year, and the uncertainty is hard, and it's uncomfortable. Unfortunately, and there's a part of me that hopes that this statement isn't true, but this idea of us all supporting one another, and when I say we, the Power Fives supporting one another and wanting each of us to be viable, it just feels like that's probably very, very secondary right now. And if you don't act, you're going to get acted upon. And I think that right now the Big 12, we're in this process of trying to act rather than the opposite.
Right before you left for what was supposed to be a break, which I'm sure did not turn out to be that way, Brett Yormark was reported to be the new commissioner or the next commissioner of the Big 12. And I got the impression, I think all of us did, that you weren't so sure who he was, and then I know you got a landslide of information. I now know that you guys talk quite a bit because he told us that last week at Arlington. And I'm sure he talks to everybody else that needs to be, on the phone with him or text messages. What are your thoughts now, just in a short amount of time, of what you see from him?
Yeah, I would say, all positive. For whatever reasons, and I'm blessed. I think Baylor's blessed that been able to be in the foxhole with him over the last couple of weeks, and certainly I'm not the only person as you indicated, but I think what I appreciate most about Brett is he doesn't pretend to know what he doesn't know, and he's gonna listen, and he's gonna ask for help, and he's gonna seek advice, and have thoughtful conversation and dialogue, and be inclusive in terms of strategy, but also he's equipped to be a leader and to make make tough decisions. And, so I've been really impressed. And, quite frankly, as hectic as it's been, and, maybe not what I anticipated my last 2 weeks to be like. It's been enjoyable to be able to support and work alongside.
Mack, are you concerned that these decisions about conferences are being made without regard to what happens to the fans that get left out?
Yeah, Paul, it's a great question. And, I'm going to answer it honestly. I think when you're in it and you're dealing with it, I'm not going to say that it's forgotten, but you're so, I guess you're so entrenched in the moment. And so, I think there's probably, less focus. Now let me just take one step back. I think, your own fan base, certainly you're thinking about your own fan base, but what about the fan bases of some of the schools that, maybe do get left out, or, or there's uncertainty. That's real, and it's a tough place to be. And, just candidly, I don't know that you're so into protecting yourself and trying to develop strategy and add value that, sometimes we probably don't think about it as much as we should.
Mack, speaking of protecting yourself, I mean, this is, I guess at its very core a Baylor show, but has, over time become more of a national type of thing just because of all that's gone on in college football. But how do you feel about your number one focus in all this, Baylor athletics, in this current environment? Yeah,
Craig, the day doesn't go by, an hour doesn't go by, truthfully, that you don't think about, your own athletics program. And, I'm at peace. I think we're in really, really good shape. I had this conversation with somebody earlier this morning, and I was talking about Autopilot in planes, and Autopilot is great for planes. It's not great for athletic department growth and security, nor conference growth in security. And so we've got to have our hands on the wheel at all times and continue to push and grow and get better and be uncomfortable. And so, I think we've done that within our department, and quite frankly, we're going to continue to do it. And quite frankly, we need to continue to do it. Sugar Bowl win, national championship, all of those things, they're great and should be celebrated. But those are done with and over with, and it's about what's in front of us, and we're going to have to continue to evolve and find ways to be better and continue to scratch and claw.
So, Mack, I know that we're going to get into some more questions about the future and what all that may hold and all that, but let's get to where I guess this technically started with Texas and Oklahoma, and if you really want to, you can go back even further than that, but what really has ramped this back up was USC and UCLA, and I don't think we've talked to you since all of that occurred. What were your thoughts when that story broke? Very similar to what you guys in the Big 12 had happen last year with OU and UT, but what were your thoughts on those LA schools making the move to the Big 10, and how much did that change maybe what everybody thought the present was at that time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously those are, similar in similar to what happened with us. And so, obviously, I've got friends and colleagues in the Pac-12 that I have great respect for and positive relationships with. And I think first and foremost, I certainly thought of them and felt for them, because I'm in the position that I'm in, and we went through this last year, and it's it's not daily conversation, it's frequent conversation. I wasn't necessarily surprised. There were rumblings about revenue share, and the Pac-12 used to have unequal revenue share, and I think those were certainly two programs that received maybe greater revenue than the others, and then they went to equal revenue share, and again just some I'm not going to say animosity, but there was some discomfort, and probably just like within the Big 12, but so it didn't surprise me, and then I think, Craig, you go right into the mode that, okay, here we go again, right? How much disruption will this lead to? And you think about the domino effect with Oklahoma and Texas leaving. Well, then we added 4, and that created dominoes in other conferences. And so, I think this remains to be seen what type of dominoes happen from here. I think it's really hard to predict if any of those dominoes fall here within a short time, or is it 6 to 12 months for it all to play out. And I think that's really, really hard to predict. I would tell you that I don't think it's over. And I think there'll be some additional changes, but when that happens, I think all of us we'd like to think we've got an idea of when that would happen, but we don't, and you got to be ready.
Mac, I don't know. Again, there's so much reporting, and some of it is people doing their jobs, and yet some of it is people throwing mud against the wall, hoping it sticks, and most of the time it doesn't. But there was a report that there was a possible merger or discussion of it, did not last very long. Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think that would even work if that was on the table, a Pac-12, Big 12 merger with so many different backgrounds, traditions, and whatever political and other type feelings?
Yeah, I think, I think there's certainly been those types of conversations. There's even been conversations about, hey, take the best of the ACC and take the best of the SEC or the Pac-12 and the Big 12, and create your own conference, or not a true merger between Big 12 and Pac-12. Take the best of the Pac-12 and the best of the Big 12, and same thing, take the best of the ACC and the best of the Pac-12. All of those different conversations, and I do think they make for fascinating dialogue. But when reality sets in, and some of the legal barriers and parameters and different TV deals and timing of TV deals and grant of rights, all of those things, it becomes really complicated really, really quick. And look, I think, in a day and time where we're all, trying to add value and protect ourselves for the future, or, maybe just make sure that we are absolutely viable, for the future. You've got to run out all of those ground balls. And I think, that's what everybody is doing. And, some of those ground balls have been run out and some are still in the process of being run out. And I think that's where we're at. And, but those things, mergers of leagues and media mergers and scheduling alliances, and not saying that they can't happen and they won't happen, but those are things that are complicated to figure out for a lot of different reasons.
Mack, you were once at Arizona. That's kind of close to your heart. Do you know enough people there that helps during this time, if in fact you're allowed to have any discussions with them?
Arizona is my alma mater, and I certainly have great affinity for that institution, and I know people are there, but these are business decisions and not necessarily relational decisions. I think it can help, but look, if there's any change to the future, whether it's the Pac-12 adding schools, us adding schools, it's going to be based on business decision and who adds value and how do you add rather than dilute.
How much have you spent the last couple of weeks since the news of USC, UCLA? How much have you spent learning more and more about media? And not that you didn't already, but the streaming and the analytics and the stats and all of that, dealing with consultants or media, whoever, trying to learn more about how the Big 12 can make more money?
Yeah, I mean, again, I've been blessed to be engaged in those conversations, and I do want to say something because I think it's really, really important. I've spent a lot of time, and you only have so much time, and so Baylor athletics, obviously, that's my priority, but so blessed to have a great executive team and staff that they can pick up in my absence, or not being able to spend as much time and we not skip a beat. And so I'm grateful to our entire staff, our coaches and our executive team. But I've absolutely have learned a lot, and felt like learned a lot last year going through that process, and learning a lot right now, and just grateful to be in a position where I can be supportive and help Brett, and again, can't reiterate enough. He's been fantastic, and I think people saw a little glimpse of that at the football media days, but he's been outstanding. He
said that to us. Well, not him about himself, but he mentioned. So I asked him last week. He was on with Greg, and me in Arlington, and I said, "Do you know where the money is?" And I know that sounds like maybe a simple question, and he got steely-eyed almost. But his answer, "Oh, I know where the money is. All the way from anything you need media rights to all the way up to like bandwidth." He got pretty deep into that as well. Is that what you've learned from him?
Yeah, I think, if you look at, his wheelhouse, he's got great relationships, and I think he has a propensity to create and generate ideas and programming and concepts that generate revenue, create revenue. And I think he's got great strength when we think about sponsorships, and I think the way we attack name, image, and likeness could be different. But I think that he eats, sleeps, drinks that stuff, and he's if you look at his track record prior to becoming commissioner, he's been extremely successful in that area, and I would anticipate and certainly predict that he will continue to be really, really successful. And look, the Big 12 conference, I think all of us, and I'm speaking on behalf of the presidents, chancellors, and athletic directors, we're looking forward to new ideas and innovation, and we're gonna have to do that to be relevant and maybe reinvent ourselves in certain ways.
Mack Rhoades, Baylor's Director of Athletics, with us, Sic'Em 365 Radio, 365 Sports. Mack, do you see any way that right now ESPN and Fox are the networks that carry Big 12 athletics that I can think of, unless it's tournaments or bowls, whatever? Can you see in any way another network carrying the Big 12 starting in 2025?
Yeah, that's a great question. And when you think about the linear partners, when you think about ESPN and Fox, let me first say they've been great partners, and we've been blessed with their partnership. Be interesting to see the NBCs and the CBSs, now that CBS has only got one more year with the SEC and Time Warner Discovery, whether or not they get into the college space. Obviously, ESPN's got ESPN Plus, so the digital space there, but you also got Amazon and Apple, and I wouldn't be surprised for Netflix to get into this. And so, it's hard to predict what the possibilities will be in 2025. I think it's good that there'll be additional linear and media partners in the space, but I would say that despite some things that have been written, that there's really a healthy relationship between the Big 12 and our two current media partners, both ESPN and Fox, and I think that there's a great chance that could continue beyond 2025.
Mack, a question about, and I know it's so far off in what's going on now, but the 4 schools coming in, when they arrive next year, do you think that the other teams who are remaining, the 8 schools plus Texas and Oklahoma and their future, will everybody get less because of the incoming schools, or do you feel like that number is still going to go up as far as the annual distribution?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think that's still a work in progress. And again, not to deflect the question, but I certainly don't want to provide an answer that's inaccurate. And so I would just say we don't know yet. I think how Texas and Oklahoma leave and those monies and some of the reserve monies, so I think there's this anticipation that, we will continue to be whole or maybe close to being whole, but quite frankly, I don't think we have that answer yet.
Earlier you said nothing is imminent. What's your definition of imminent?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell you for sure if Big 12 is going to remain at 12. And again, when I say 12, I'm talking about obviously beyond Texas and Oklahoma once they leave, or whether or not we add and go from 12 to 14 to 16 to whatever that number is. And I think that's still a work in progress and exploration and look, there's a lot on the plate of Brett and the Big 12. I mean, certainly there's the conference membership piece, but it's all the other things too that he talked to you about in terms of generating revenue. You know, those are all things when he talks about being open for business, it, you know, right away people go just to the conference membership piece, but it's really all of the above. And so, you know, a lot of work to be done, and you know, we'll see what that timeline looks like. And you know, there's certain things and steps and processes, and you know, look, I don't think I'm, you know, breaking any type of news, but you know, I think one of the first things that has to happen is for the Big Ten to get their TV deal done. And you know, we all know and hear and understand that Fox is going to be the major player, you know, in that, but they're not going to be the only partner. And so who are the other partners? And so, you know, those are all things that still need to be decided. And, you know, it's Brett's job. It's our job, meaning the presidents and the athletic directors, to put the Big 12 in the very, very best position that we can for the future.
And that's my last thing. Do you feel as confident now as you felt that the Big 12, no matter what, the Big 12 will have the opportunity and a seat at the table to win championships in no matter what sports at the highest level? Amen.
I really do believe that. And I think, you know, for our Baylor family, I think Baylor's in a really, really good position. And I think when we think about intercollegiate athletics, the future, you know, quote unquote, big time, Power 5, nationally relevant, you know, however you want to, whatever description you want to use, right? I think the Big 12 is going to be right in the middle of that conversation.
Mack, thanks for your time. We've missed having you on, and I know you've had a lot on your plate, and to give us as much as you do when you can. Thank you very much, and good luck moving forward.
Great being with you. Missed you guys.
You
Talk
too.
soon.
Mack Rhoades, Mack B. Rhoades IV, Baylor Director of Athletics. And I've been wanting to ask that question for 2.5 weeks, but, you know, and things have changed a little bit, but I think he answered that. It almost didn't even get the question out of my mouth.
I got to tell you, that was pretty jam-packed with goodies. But, man, the comedy side of me, I just so badly wanted to interject with, like, a volleyball question in the middle of all that. Like, but what are your thoughts on the volleyball season coming up, Mack? Yeah, that was good stuff, and going to have to listen to that a couple more times to really wrap my head around everything that was said.
Basically, eat or get eaten.
Yeah.
That was